and that way we'll have it available for you later. Well, welcome to the first Instructors Roundtable for Law and Public Service Teachers. It's September 3rd, 2020 at 4 o'clock, and we couldn't be more happy than to have you guys here, and we hope that you learned some stuff from each other today that is beneficial. I showed this slide earlier in the month, but teachers and students, let school begin. And you know, if Mr. Cotter can handle the sweat hogs, surely we can handle asynchronous instruction. And then this slide always, sometimes during this COVID and with all the different instructional methods, I feel like Slim Pickens here when he rides up and says, what in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Sometimes you just never know. But help is on the way, as the Beatles would tell you. To teach you a little bit about CTET. CTET is the leading advocate for advancing career and technical education in Texas. And we work to help educators prepare students for college and career success, regardless of their post-secondary route, as you heard Robin talking about earlier. We just want to provide the professional education they need to succeed at a career. Also in CTET, we have technical assistance and training available, and also program evaluations. Some of the other programming that we do through CTET, we work with next generation administrators, your coordinators, and your specialists that aren't directors yet, but they're out of the classroom. We have a new CTE Teacher Academy that we're working with teachers that are in their first, second, or third year. And so if you're interested in that, we'll certainly send you out the registration link. We have COVID roundtables, not only for instructors, but for administrators too. And we do professional development conferences. And one of the reasons why we started with law is because we had such a fantastic law and public service professional development conference this past June. The roundtables all began with the administrators roundtable. And we just called them roundtables, but it's where administrators and counselors came and people generally in administration. And in the administrators roundtable, we would go over guidance from TEA, whether that be public health or whether it be attendance and enrollment. And so administrators could share back and forth and how they're addressing the guidelines laid out by TEA. And so then we thought we would take that idea, and those administrator roundtables have been so successful. As a matter of fact, we just finished one. They've been so successful that we wanted to move this and make this type of self-professional development format available to CTE instructors in the state. And this is an opportunity for you guys to share ideas, identify resources, create best practices, network with each other, and engage with other professionals across the state. And some questions that we'll start out with here is, how are things going in your district? I know that you guys are wore out and it's very tough. What's working and what's not working? And what do you need? And what can you share with each other that would make your teaching a little bit more successful and your life a little more easier? And so help is on the way. If you believe in the snake oil, I think that we do have a vaccine coming, and maybe we'll get closer back to normal as the fall progresses. And so when we get to this point in a roundtable, I usually stop sharing and go back to the gallery view that we have here. And that way everyone can kind of see each other, and everyone has taken and posted their name and their district into the chat. And so when I send this out, you'll be able to put a name back with the district. And if you want to email a colleague that you heard an interesting idea from, you'll certainly have their name that you can locate them on the school website. And we are recording this, and we will post it on the CTET YouTube site. And I'm going to be copying and pasting it as we go, because I know if you enter late, you don't necessarily see all the chats, but that's the CTET YouTube site. And we'll post this, and we'll also send the chat out that people, when they put links and other information in the chat box, you'll be able to see that as well. So how are things going? And who would kind of like to start? Mr. Van Ryn, I know you're new to your district. What's working well for you? You guys, are y'all completely virtual, or are you combination or in person?
Combination. We do both. We got about, I think 70% are actually in class and the rest are remote. So still kind of working out the kinks. We're still in the first week. So we've had a lot of people coming back and forth, changing from being remote to coming to class. Kind of here with the CTE, what we've kind of told them is if you want to earn those certifications, you got to come to class. You're not going to be able to earn a telecommunicator certificate or a welding certificate being at home. So that's kind of what is kind of driving that right now. And that's getting a lot of them to come back, at least for the CTE classes.
And so in your district, do they have the option to do both? Like they can do their cores at home and then CTE?
They've got the choice. They have to request it if they want to do CTE, like come to CTE courses and then stay home. But they do have that choice. So it's kind of, a lot of them have decided that it is just easier to come to class for CTE. So, but with the law enforcement program, we're still trying to get that going. We have about 250 kids signed up for the law and public safety courses itself. So we're working out that. I have 7 periods of the intro class. So.
Oh.
Yep, it's a lot.
How big is your school district?
So biggest class is about 25 kids at least. So it's a full classroom.
Your CTE director needs to get on the ball over there and help out with your load.
Well, and that's we have we have about that. They're working on the counselors are working on the schedule. They kind of wanted to see where the chips lied after the first week. They're in the period of being able to drop and move to other courses. Some of them seem like maybe they were put in the wrong principals class, so that some of them are working on transferring out. So we'll kind of see where it lands next week. So.
And that's very common. Just so you guys kind of know, I was an agricultural science teacher for 11 years, and then I became a CTE administrator for 20 years. And so that's the background I come from, Mark Boshier, and it's very nice to meet everyone. And we just have, which is a great number, 23. So anyway, you kind of know my background. So I want to make the point that, what you're talking about, class leveling, that's really not anything that's new. And usually it takes the counselors a couple of weeks under the best circumstances. So under these circumstances, might give them a little grace for a little while too. Who has, what kind of, for those you guys that are asynchronous, what type of learning platform, not platform necessarily, but curriculum resources are you using? I think we can see most everyone. Raise your hand if you have asynchronous students. What are you guys using as a curriculum resource?
ICEV is what I'm using.
ICEV, and how? What is your learning management platform?
As far as I know, so we just finished week 1, so they're just trying to get their login into ICEV. So that's what I'm planning to use. But I only had like 50 slots, and I have a large amount of students, so not everybody got to get into ICEV. So I'm waiting for my CTA director to give me more slots.
And what district are you with? I'm sorry.
Harlandale ISD.
Oh, very good.
In San Antonio.
Well, I think that ICEV is pretty, I mean, I realize that logistics are involved, but it's pretty cheap on a per student base. I think the last time I looked, it was about $8 a kid. So you ought to be able to pull up some other licenses. Who else is using ICEV? Mr. Parks? Do you know how's yours working?
You're
I think
muted.
you're,
I'm
yeah.
no, I got to unmute myself. I used ICBE last year, and just from an instructor standpoint, we didn't do the student thing. We just use it as a resource. This year,
Right.
we're doing that, but we're also implementing Schoology. I don't know if everybody's doing Schoology, but our director told us that we were going to also get the student side of it. We just had the teacher side of it for now, but we're in the process of getting that uploaded. Ours is a little bit different. We're doing 4 classes and they're 95 minutes each. And we're having a Wednesday middle class. Well, Wednesday's like a half day where they do deep cleaning. I have 149 people in my class, and I teach 6 classes, but we're only probably about 40%. We have hybrid and what is called online. Online is your typical kid's going to be home doing online. Hybrid would be kids like if they're in certain CTE classes and other classes like football, things that they have to be physically there, welding, ag, and a few other things too. The 95 minutes is getting old. I'm like a trained monkey. I'm used to the 50-minute thing, but not 95 minutes. So you kind of have to mix it up a little bit. But everything's going okay. They're being real, wanting us to get out of here on a Wednesday when it's a half a day. We're deep cleaning. Of course, we're here till 4, but the kids get out of here half a day, and they try to give that half a day for us to kind of catch up on our Schoology and get everything done for the online people, because we're having to take care of the online, the hybrids, and then the face-to-face kiddos as well.
That's a great point. When you have those longer periods, you do have to mix it up with different activities. And then you said y'all are using Schoology. How is that working with the ICEV?
Actually, it works hand in hand, but I'm not a computer, and I'm not knocking the IT people. I'm not an IT person, but we started it in the spring when we came back from spring break when we got into the COVID-19 and all that stuff. So it's getting better, but it's still trying to get it all up and loaded. And you're kind of teaching different, well, I'm teaching the same thing in class that I'm teaching online, but it's the attendance thing's a little bit of a chore because you got to turn around and make sure that they're checking in when they're supposed to. So let me make sure that the hybrid people and also the online people check in. So that's a little bit of a chore.
So that's something that you have to do as a teacher, or is that something that Schoology does for you?
No, our grading systems separately. I know, even though Schoology has one, they don't see eye to eye. So when we started back in the spring using Schoology, we decided to stick with the one we had. So that's probably the one little kink. You got to do everything and transfer your grades from single-handedly from that over to the program that we have on the other one. So
Yeah, in the administrators, we learned that Canvas, there was the ICV worked well with Canvas. It just took a lot of clicks to get the lessons uploaded. Is anyone in here using Canvas for their ICEV? Charity, how is Canvas working for you?
As far as bringing in, like the PowerPoints and stuff, it works great. Videos, I'm not able to bring it in. If I was in Google Classroom, the videos would be able to go in. So I'm just having to adapt and not use the videos that are on ICEV.
Awesome. And then Demetria Robinson put in the chat box that TXCTE, which is the Texas the OnCourse, which is a great resource for lesson plans, but said the students can find the worksheets and the test online. I'd say that's half a success if you get them looking online for the test and worksheets. So don't knock that too bad. But that is a great place to find lesson plans. And another thing it has on there is it has the scope and sequence for your year, and it'll tell you how many minutes that's needed or that's proposed for each unit. And so that's helpful too in asynchronous instruction. there's a Google form that Mr. Van Ryn said that they use for their remotes to fill out and submit every day to get credit for being present. Mr. Van Ryn, is that a link that you could share in the box by any chance?
Yeah, I can see what I can do. I'll have to see if it's a shareable document outside of the district, and if it is, I'll put it on there.
That's okay. And if you're willing to share it, if you can, if your district
Yeah.
will let you, you can always just email that to me, and I'll make sure we get it out.
Yeah, they set it up to where when they submit it, it automatically goes to the counselors to be able to do that. So that way we're not responsible. We only take roll for third period. So every third period does all the remote students. So we're not having to try and track down every student all day. So.
Is anyone on the in this group, is anyone using anything other than ICEV? I know that we had a couple of people said their district wouldn't pay for the, Mr. Mullaney said the district wouldn't pay for the student. What are y'all using?
I use my own stuff. I mean, that's about it.
Have you created a Google Classroom? Is that what you're using?
Yes, for the 3 preps that I have, yes.
3 preps keeps you busy if you're doing both, doesn't it?
Well, it's 3 preps, and then I also have 35 online.
Wow. Well, I know you guys, you might not hear it enough, but everyone sure appreciates what you do. And we know that this is a real challenging time in career and technical education. And one thing about career tech teachers, they always make it work. And I see you guys are doing the same thing. Where are you getting most of your Google resources from, Christopher?
I've been teaching this stuff since 2012, so I've just collected it over the years and begged, borrowed, and stole. Or paid for some of it too.
Would this group be interested in creating maybe some type of Google folder that where you could share documents back and forth? Is that something you think you might need?
Sure. I don't mind sharing all my stuff. I mean, I have no pride. I'm not one of these that hoards everything like some criminal justice teachers are. I've heard of.
Mr. Best, who is and I don't think he's in the Zoom here today, but Mr. Best is the law and public service teacher in Hallsville, and they have a Google, and I'm going to reach out to him, see if he would mind sharing too with this group, but they have a shared Google folder that a group of teachers in East Texas have put together, and they're sharing back and forth as well. Mr. Lampman, what district are you with? You're right there in Cedar Square.
Yeah, no, I'm Keller ISD, just like Mr. Maloney there.
Very good.
I'm gonna be stealing stuff from him. If he'll share it.
It's not stealing if you're networking, if he shares it.
There you go. There you go.
How are things in Keller?
Good. Well, we're half and half in person and remote still. So I have 4 in person and then 2 remote classes. And this is my first year teaching, so I just left the Dallas Police Department just before summer. So I'm excited, but I'm definitely using all these resources I can. And then, like I said, stuff that I have or got during my career. But
Well, thank you for your service in Dallas.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Christopher and Nathan, I put my email in there, and if you're unable to share the Google Drive, if you don't mind emailing me that link, I'll send this out to the group when I send them the link in the shared chat. It's mark@ctat.org. And any of you, just anything you need, feel free to reach out to me, and that's my email. And you're free to text or call or whatever you want to do. I'm available to you 24/7. Last week in New Teacher Academy, we had a teacher that we were able to help out with their certification. So you never know what we can help you with, and we'll do our best. And if we can't, we'll try to find someone that can. Who else has a challenge that they're dealing with in their district?
This is my second year teaching, teaching pretty much. I was a police officer in Denver for the better part of my life. But I guess the issue I have with our school is that when I came in last year, they had nothing, and I struggled consistently every day to get something going. And I think the school doesn't understand that because they've never had CTE before, and so they try to throw all these programs that other teachers use that are completely useless to me. So I think CTE has been working. I mean, ICEV has been working well. It gives you the lesson plan, so you really don't have to think much, as far as, what am I going to teach the next day? What am I going to teach the next day? It just kind of gives you a list of everything. So if people don't have it, I can kind of try to print some stuff out or download stuff and then send it to you guys. But I don't know. I have about 250 kids right now.
Wow.
Some classes have about 47 kids in them, and I don't even understand how they're going to do when they go back to school. I only have 26 desks, so I don't know how they're going to work that out.
Mr. Lucio, am I pronouncing your name right?
That's correct.
What district are you with?
Well, I just moved to South Texas, so I'm teaching at a charter school called Jubilee Academies. It's down in Brownsville.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, ICEV, it's good material to get going, and that TXCTE.org is also great. And I know that sometimes historically there hasn't been a lot of textbooks that have been adopted for law and public safety. And so really a lot of teachers really rely on what we're doing here, sharing information and sharing resources. So maybe, Mr. Lucio, maybe we can get some, at least some Google Docs your way to help you out with some resources.
Cool. Yeah, I just pull from everything. Like I said, I have ICEV, but I try to find whatever. I'm the only one for the entire district. The district's actually in San Antonio, and they have schools throughout the state. So up until this year, I was the only law enforcement principles of law teacher. So I really couldn't seek out anybody. And like the guy said before, the teacher said before earlier, trying to get criminal justice or other teachers to share with you, it's trying to pull teeth, man. They don't give you anything.
Right. Hopefully this helps. And I know, Robin, and when we were having the Law and Public Service Conference, we know that a lot of people worked hand in hand with their local police academy that provided a lot of resources, and also their local community colleges that had resources. So you might want to tie in with one of your, and if we have if you guys are willing and you like to, if we have another roundtable, we might pull in a resource from the community college area and see what resources they use that maybe you guys could tap into as well.
That'd be great.
Fantastic. Mr. Khan, you're right there. What district are you with?
Ezra Khan, nothing to do with Khan Academy. I wish I was, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this.
We thought that's why you were in here.
I am retired military, 21 years Air Force cop.
Thank you.
And thanks. And myself and Mr. Johnson here, we're down in Spring ISD, right inside of Houston. We are currently strictly virtual, but we are making the move to Yahoo. We are making the move to the teachers going back to the building starting next week, and then somehow or another they will filter us, filter the students in. We're not part of that. We're way above our pay grade. So we have right now we have Law 1, Law 2, We did have a corrections class last year, but we didn't have enough for that, so we don't have that. We have a couple of criminal investigations courses and practicum. So I came into spring at the end of 2019. There was 2 kids in the practicum class. Then we started, I did last year, obviously for the COVID, and I had 6. And this year I have 28. Which is awesome, but at the same time, I'm kind of like Mr. Lucio is, what are we doing today? You know, what are we figuring out? You know, the beginning is kind of easy, especially if you're there, you can kind of work through some of the stuff. But as far as like certifications and things like that, we're definitely not up to speed just yet. Mr. Johnson and I, he's about a year ahead of me. He can speak on that himself, but we're slowly trying to collaborate and really just build a program, build some interest as it goes. And yeah, so we're using Schoology. So that's our platform.
Right.
As far as lessons and things like that, I can't say I've written a lesson plan yet. I haven't. I catch a lot of slack for it, but again, we're just trying to figure out what the next step is. Mr. Johnson is the actual analytics and the brains behind the operation. So I'll let him talk about that. But again, we're just trying to make it until we figure out what's the next step in our district. And we're teaching, thank God, not 95 minutes, but we're at 60 minutes, and even that's a struggle.
I am posting in the chat box the link to the TXCTE.org. If you haven't looked at this website, there's a lot of great resources on it, and I know including the answers to the test and the answers to the worksheets. But anyway, when you said that you haven't really done a lesson plan yet, you might look on that website, because there's a lot of lesson plans that are already done for you. And so that may give you a great format and a way to kick off if you get a chance to look at that, Mr. Khan.
Yeah, I got to be honest, it's not that I can't do it. I really haven't done it just yet, simply because, again, you're trying to figure out what the content is. So for me to plan out 2 weeks on a lesson plan, I don't think I'm going to follow it. And I kind of told my administrator that, like, you may get a lesson plan from me, but you may come in my class and I'm not teaching that. And then especially, you know, with so many of the things happening these days, the hot topic right now is obviously how people hate the police. So, you know, we're starting off, at least in my class, the discussion is, you know, the hatred for the police, and we're going to get really heavy into use of force. So there's a lot of explaining, but again, we're trying to change some of the opinions, and that in itself is a little bit of a struggle. So we'll get the lesson plan going eventually.
If there's ever a time that our students need education in law and public service, it's right now. So what you guys doing is incredibly important, and it's really a public service to our students, more so than ever. Ms. Williamson, what district are you with?
Hi, I'm with Huddle ISD.
Very good. How's the year in Hutto going so far?
It's going. That's a loaded question. We have 3 CJ teachers. I myself have 214. I checked yesterday. We'll see if it changes again. It really is just day to day. I try to just concentrate on the one day and get through it before I move on. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm honestly, I'm blessed to have a job, so I'm trying to hold on to that.
Understood. What resources are you mainly using, Ms. Williamson?
We're using Google Classroom. As far as, like, I hear all of y'all using all this different stuff. I have nothing. I've been teaching since 2007. And I've always just built my own lessons. I've looked at the CTE website that you were talking about, sometimes I'll take pieces of it.
Right.
The only downfall that I saw with some of that was the kids find it. So that was a problem. So I'll only pull certain things from there. I won't teach directly from it. But yeah, no, I've built, when I first started teaching, I was actually going through the TCOL program too. So I was using a lot of stuff from my own classes that I was actually in. But yeah, no, I've always built my own stuff.
Christopher, I see, has just posted his Google Drive, his shared Google Drive into the chat box. So again, I will copy and paste all of this chat. We save the chat from all the roundtables and send that to you. So if you don't have a chance to grab it here, you'll get a chance when we send out the chat. It sounds like, and Miss Williamson, you sound like a lot of the others in here, you're really in need of resources.
Yeah, I'm already super thankful that there's at least like 2 or 3 other teachers that are teaching forensic psychology, because this is the first year that I'll be teaching it. I have a minor in it, but that was back in 05. So I haven't actually used that or gone back to that in quite some time. So I am doing tons of research and have all sorts of books going at one time, trying to pull a lesson together. So that right there is wonderful. But yeah, right now I'm desperate for any kind of forensic psychology help.
Hey, Mark, do you remember we stumbled on that website? And I don't know if anybody's mentioned it here today, but it was the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service.
Right.
They have a ton of classes.
Yeah.
I don't know about forensic psych though.
Yeah,
And
no,
I'll
we've had a meeting.
Catalog.
Yeah, that's right, Robin. And then another thing about that Texas Engineering Extension Service, they offered the certification for the Security 2, which was on the certification list. The forensic.
Does anybody here utilize that website or any of the training or courses that it provides? Ever hear of it?
They do an awesome field trip. You have to pay for their courses. They've come down to Hutto and met with us. I don't know about any of their free stuff, but they had a bunch of classes, but you did have to pay for them, and our district wasn't willing to do that for each student. But when we scheduled a field trip with them, and it was an entire day, and it was awesome. The kids had a blast, and they were super sweet. It was a great thing. So I mean, I guess right now with everything going on, but any type of future stuff, they're really good.
Yep. And Robin and I both have, Robin did a better job. She posted a better website than I did. But anyway, those websites for the Engineering Extension Service are in the chat box. If any of you guys want to copy and paste, or just wait till we email them out. Does anyone else know of, have a resource that they're using that we haven't mentioned yet?
Are you talking about for forensic psychology? Is that
Yes.
the class you're focusing? I'm using a textbook from Pearson called Criminal Behavior. And that's basically kind of what I'm going by. It's an actual textbook.
Was that an adopted book, or do you know?
It was adopted since forensic psychology is an innovative course. We were able to adopt this book for that course. And I can put.
It looks like that's $39 on from the Pearson store.
Yeah, and I don't think they have. I mean, I have actual hard copies for my students, but they don't have an online resource while we're doing virtual learning. That's an issue right there.
Monica, do you know, are there PowerPoints available? Usually there is. It'll have it might not be like virtual learning, but they'll have resources like PowerPoints and
They do.
worksheets and yeah. So
They don't
that,
have worksheets, but they do have the PowerPoints. I was able to get the PowerPoints from the book and the tests for the chapters. That's it online.
and usually if for a course like that, your district should have an instructional materials allotment. Now I know that everyone's fighting over funds, but for a class that has 0 resources, I bet you can make a pretty good case to grab some of those resources. Ms. Lewis just asked if there's anyone in here that teaches courses from the government and public administration pathway. Ms. Lewis, you might be the Lone Ranger on that. I think that is the smallest pathway. Oh, there's Mary Murphy. Very good. Do you, Miss Murphy and Miss Lewis, do y'all want to put your emails in there? Y'all could email back and forth.
Okay, yeah. I'm actually an administrator that has inherited this pathway. I mean, that my teachers, and that's part of what we're struggling with is to figure out some resources and curriculum. So I agree that it must be across the state. They're short on that curriculum or resources.
Right.
The funny thing about it is, and I'm getting ready to jump off, we have Meet the Teacher tonight, by the way, but virtual Meet the Teacher. But I actually have a master's in public administration. It just happens to be that way. And so I started thinking about the things that I, experienced as I went through all of this, and how to help them to shape that, at the high school level. So I don't know, but I'm going to put my email in there, and if she will do the same. And I'm not in this group. I was just asking around, and someone told me that this round table was happening. So that's why I jumped in here to see if I could hear or connect with someone. So,
and
anyway.
we have, when we get your email, we'll keep our eyes peeled, and we'll be watching Connect CTAT. And whenever we see resources for government, I'll try to shoot them your way.
Well, I appreciate that. I am an what used to be vocational ed teacher. I taught old school BOE back in the day when I first was in education. So I'm all for, I'm listening to you all and your passion for career preparation. So I'm all for it. And I wish you guys the best.
You might be the second oldest person in here right behind me.
I'm not even going there. Look, see, I try to cover mine. Look at the different stuff. Could y'all tell which private? I work hard on mine, bud. I work hard on mine.
I put in no effort, as you can tell.
So I'm putting my email in there. So if you all can share anything or know of where I can help them get some resources for the government and public administration strand, I would greatly appreciate it.
Did you see that in there that Nicole posted about iCivics?
No, I did not.
You might want to make a note of that before you leave. Thanks,
iCivics works for the principals class, but it doesn't really have much as far as the more advanced classes like foreign service and diplomacy and political science too. They're more basic.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anything will help at this point. So I appreciate just listening to you guys. Most of you guys are law, right? Yeah, we have that in the district, just not in my school. Yeah.
Right.
All righty.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, and you all have a good rest of the evening.
We have about, we need to end this around 4:50 because we have another program of study that's coming in behind you guys. So I want to make sure that if you have a pressing question that we can get it in. Does anyone else have like a resource that they'd really like to share or a question they'd really like to get answered? Let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on having another roundtable just like this in 2 weeks? And now that you kind of know the format, we'll all be a little bit better prepared to come with what we need, because when we were starting this, Robin and I visited, we knew you guys would want to share, and we didn't know if you'd have ideas about career prep or interns, but it sounds like resources is kind of the big topic. And so everyone can kind of come loaded for bear with resources to share next time. And so kind of thumbs up or shake your head. Is having another one of these in 2 weeks worth doing? Okay, very good. And fantastic. Thank you for posting in there. Okay, if anyone has anything else, now's the time. We can't tell you how much we appreciate what you're doing and how we know what a challenge it is to prepare and to serve the students, especially this fall. So thank you all very much. And especially for those of you that are coming from law enforcement, thank you for serving in that role in our communities as well. Okay.
Hey, Mark, before I let you go,
yes, Christopher.
Before everybody else logs off, is it possible that you or somebody there at CTAP might be willing to create a Google Drive where we can share our resources that we may have that are up for grabs for whoever?
I for sure don't mind creating that Google Drive, but Robin may have a better idea. Any thoughts on that, Robin?
No, I think Google is one of the best, most open platforms for sharing.
What I'll do then is I'll create like we have some Google sites that we keep, and they're real informal, and we'll just create a Google site for you guys that we link through the CTAT resources website. And all you got to do is go to ctat.org and hit resources, and then you can
Well, I think what we can do, we can create, just like Morris did, we can create a Google workbook and people can add links in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, and that may be.
That way, because
well, I also have a lot of
website,
material.
they might not be able to upload it. Okay, so in that case, we could do, we'll make a folder and have folks go at it that way. And we can offer a spreadsheet too if you want to put in links if something doesn't live in a electronic file format. So we'll do a folder, give you edit rights so that you can upload to it, and then we'll start a Google Sheet so you can add links if the format's electronic.
So
that's great.
We can for sure accommodate that.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
And how will we have access to this information? Will we receive an email?
Yes, ma'am.
Once all this? Okay.
I will send you an email with the link to the Google folder.
Okay.
And the spreadsheet.
Perfect.
I made myself a note right there that means it'll get done sometime this month. No, I'm just teasing. I'll try to get it out to you tomorrow with the video and the chat. Anyone else?
I was just going to ask if I could get Nicole's email if she's willing for forensic psychology.
Erica, I teach it as well. Her and I are the ones that are probably the ones creating the files. Erica, I'm up here, Mulaney. I'll send it out again.
No, I got yours. I'm sorry. No, you're good. Thank you.
Well, this has been terrific, and I hope that it's been helpful to everyone. And thank you for being here, and thank you for participating. I do think that we're all stronger together in this. And if you don't have any other questions, you don't have to.
Thank you all. Hang in there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stopping the